Does lice kill? Let's chat. In this video, I will be talking about some sensitive issues such as child abuse, child neglect, and the passing of a child. Viewers' discretion is advised. This is Caitlin Yajvaek, who is a 12-year-old girl from Ivy, Georgia, who passed away August of 2020 from having head lice for 3 years. Her head lice caused her to have a heart attack and to have anemia. Just as a point of reference, Ivy, Georgia is about 130 miles from Atlanta, and the closest city to it is Macon, Georgia, which is about 20 to 25 miles. Caitlin's parents, Mary Catherine Horton and John Joseph Yajvaek, were charged with her death. Caitlin's parents had a history with defects prior to Caitlin's even being born. They had two older boys, that were taken away from them because of the living conditions, and their boys, Caitlin's older brothers, actually stayed with their maternal grandmother, who is Mary Catherine's mother. Right when Caitlin was born, defects was called because her parents were supposed to give her away to an adoptive family, but they changed their minds. 10 years later, when Caitlin was 10 years old, defects was called again on her parents because of her living conditions. She actually was taken out of her parents' home into another family member's home, but 6 days later, she was back with her parents. And defects didn't hear from the family again until 2 years later, which was August 2020, when Caitlin died. During my research, I've learned that the family actually switched counties, but the parents never re-enrolled Caitlin to school. So from what I've seen or my research, she didn't go to school all of 2020. Not sure why that fell through the cracks. So this video is longer than I intended it to be. I will be doing a part 2, giving you my opinion. I just want to give you some facts first about the case. But let me know, do you remember this case from last year? I do remember it being pretty viral, and just give me your opinions below. Thank you for watching. So part 2. So I don't think I mentioned this in the last video, but Caitlin's primary cause of death was cardiac arrest, and secondary cause of death was severe anemia. So I'm not entirely convinced Caitlin died due to lice, even though from my readings I did see that experts were saying how it is possible for someone to die from getting lice because of the constant biting, especially if they've had it for a long period of time. But it doesn't happen that often. I think I read that it's like 1% that would happen. Ultimately, it's sad that a child died. And for me, it was due to her parents' neglect. And that's what it boils down to. Even the children they had prior to Caitlin being born, they were taken away from them because they weren't living in an adequate environment. Having lice for 3 years is very visible. You don't have to be a lice specialist in order to see it. I've had a client who've had lice for maybe a year and a half before, and I could see it because it was that visible. So I know other people could see Caitlin's infestation, whether her parents were treating or not. So what I don't get, not including 2020, since she wasn't really in school all of 2020 from what I've read, I am surprised that the school didn't say anything, didn't contact CPS at all. So Caitlin was maybe, I would say, elementary school, middle school. So I would think if she had lice for that amount of time, somebody at her school would have seen it, I would think, because it would have been very visible. And usually with schools, if they see that a child has lice, they'll send them home. And sometimes if they habitually have it over and over again and the parents aren't taking care of it, then that's when they'll call CPS. So I'm surprised that the school, assuming, I didn't read anything about the school saying anything about her having lice, didn't say anything or or report her to CPS. That's what I don't understand. I could dive deeper in this, but I won't. So let me know what you guys think. Just a sad situation altogether. It's just unbelievable.